Hello and welcome to another episode of the MEWSCAST, where we discuss what's hot and what's not in hospitality tech. On today's episode, we recap what went down at HITEC 2019 in Minneapolis. The event is billed as America's premier hospitality tech event, but it was disappointingly low on the tech front. It looks like American hoteliers are starting to lag behind their European counterparts. And we spoke to our very own team of Lucy Eason, Naidoo, and Adam Britton, who were pacing the corridors thirsty for inspiration. Give me 3 exciting things that happened at HITEC that you thought were exciting within hospitality tech.
So the exciting things at HITEC, I would say it was, I liked where the conversations were going, right? So you guys joined a little later, but the first day were all about just panels and talks, and there was this whole conversation about really the need of going cloud-based, because I find it still really challenging to convince the hotelier that the on-premise solutions are the way to go. So it was really good to see that there is a movement now and a push towards this direction. Just overall really seeing also an influence of that the new tech, the millennials, and that wave of the technology revolution. There were a lot of talks in this sense where we're really starting to notice that it's very important to pay attention to how we're working with technology in just our regular lives. And that hoteliers are no longer thinking we're just a hospitality company. They're starting to realize that you have to become a tech company too. You have to think as a tech, like from the tech perspective, and you're not just a hotelier anymore, because you're going to be left way behind.
Yeah, and I saw this, I think. Actually, it's funny you say this, because the cloud was the number one thing that everybody seemed to have talked about. From previous HITECs as well, I very rarely saw any legacy systems anywhere. I mean, there were some really awful cloud systems out there that I saw, especially that business intelligence tool. It was like Excel just moved into, it's exactly like itself into a cloud, and it's now called a BI tool. With that lady, wow, it was crazy. But I felt the whole theme was about trying to convince hoteliers that the cloud is now here and we should be considering, which I find bizarre considering we've been talking about that in Europe now for over 5 to 10 years, and it seems like they're just talking about it now. Mm-hmm. And I found that a little bit shocking.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go, right? So I had a conversation with one hotelier, and he was talking about the amazing thing he's just done of how he's virtualized all his servers. So if you don't know, virtualization is when you have one big server in your property, and then you combine, your telephone system, your PMS, your point of sale server all into one. This is something people were doing 10 years ago, and he was saying that this is so innovative for their hotel, and it's the next step is going fully cloud-based, and it really is a big change.
So why do you think America's been so slow to catch up to the rest of the world, for example, on this regard? Why do you think America?
I think the hospitality space, I don't think they're slow in any other area, because there are fast-moving tech spaces outside hospitality. I think the area that's really slow is the hospitality area. And to answer that question, it's the providers, the property management systems, the CRS systems, all of those systems that maintain most of this connectivity between the guest and the hotel. These systems haven't moved forward, which means the hoteliers haven't seen the need to move forward. Yeah. So what we've been doing with Mews in the last couple of years is really pushing that envelope forward, that it's time for you to move, and it's actually created a reaction against hoteliers that we probably need to move forward as well. They don't have that sense of urgency yet, which I guess is the reason why we're going to the US.
But also, as well, in the US, there's not that many hotels out there which are really experience-based. So in Europe, you have people like Generator Hostels, right, who are really about experience-led hospitality, where you walk into the hotel and it's an experience, and you meet people in the bar. You can pour your own beer at a beer tap. These consumers, are craving these like sort of experience-led hotels. And in the US, those sorts of brands are just not there yet. It's still just you go to a hotel to check in, sleep, and check out.
And do you think that's a legacy of the fact that the US is more heavily
Branded.
dominated by these chains?
Because most of those hoteliers would have been led by the systems that are provided by the brand. And so as the hotelier, if you were joining a brand, you would take the system, implement it, roll it out, the team starts using it and never probably question, is there better technology out there, because you're almost, I guess, coupled to use it. So I think because of that, these hoteliers don't really question the systems that are needed because it's been provided for them by a brand. Whereas it's strange because with the independents, and there were a few independents at HITEC that I met, and they seem to be more focused on guest technology than anything else at the moment. Yeah. Is that telling me to finish?
No, sorry.
I've been talking too long.
Get it right.
So okay, if I can ask each of you to give me, starting with you, one bit of hardware and one bit of software that you saw or you heard of at HITEC, or even it could be a part of the software, something that excited you, like that you thought, wow, that's something I saw, that's interesting and that's exciting. That wasn't there last year, let's say.
Yeah, so for me, the biggest thing that blew me away at HITEC was definitely what OpenKey have announced with their upgrade module for existing door locks in hotels. They're enabling a hotel to just go and retrofit their existing hotel with an upgrade chip to make it a mobile lock. This is something which has existed in the the residential space for ages. You see people changing their doorbells to those video doorbells and things, but in the hospitality space, if you want to bring in some cool tech and some good hardware into your hotel, you need to pay an insane amount of money for some provider to come in and do it for you. Whereas you have skilled handyman who are working as maintenance people in these hotels, which can do these upgrades. So it's really exciting to see OpenKey bring this do-it-yourself model into the hospitality space.
Greg, what do you think?
Like hardware, I really didn't see anything that blew me away. Like the one thing that I remember was Go Moment, and it's actually quite a funny story because I actually really love the stuff that these guys created, which is sort of AI, a chat function, and hopefully now they will connect with Mews as well, which would be even nicer. In like actually sending out prompts to the customer via text messaging, which is also really great considering not everybody wants to download an application to receive messages all the time. Like that was really nice, and they seem to have done much more with it. It's been around now for about, I think, 3 or 4 years, or if not longer, but they seem to have done a little bit more with it, and I actually could see some of our hotels here in Europe really like this a lot, actually. It's funny, I used to actually use it in presentations a while back, and to actually meet them for the first time was quite nice.
I love the mirror. But this is because I'm just like looking at it from my perspective of just going to a hotel and having so there was this mirror, super beautiful, but the mirror was actually also a touch screen where you can just do stuff, you can order stuff, and just basically it's interactive. So I just can envision the use of it. Like I know so many people would be like, imagine that you're cutting your hair and you can order a burger, or I can do my makeup and have a coffee to go. Like that's amazing.
But think about it, right? Like you are going to be, before you leave the hotel to check out, you're going to have a shower, brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Imagine reviewing your bill and checking out directly on the mirror in your bathroom and then leaving directly the hotel.
I basically ordered it for home already.
And it was like, and it was
I want
nice.
one too.
Considering it's a mirror, it was so nicely done the way they created it. I actually, it was really
It was
good.
really slick.
We're getting them to the
Would
office.
you say that was your one, Lucy? That was your one hardware.
That was the hardware. Yeah, I did have one conversation with Lindsay, one lady that I've met, and she works for a company called Journea. So basically, I think we talked about it, Adam. They do that whole customer journey from you're at the airport, notification pops up. And they really just, do the whole, before you maybe even leave the house, it says, okay, you're traveling in a certain amount of time, you should probably, this is the weather, you should pack for this. Then, you're arriving, traffic's bad, maybe you should consider, certain journey, really well done. I really like that one. So, but I mean, if I'm just kind of thinking about the HITEC as a general, there weren't that many things that would like blow me away, just like you said. And I guess it really goes back to what we're doing here. I see so many amazing things here that when I see them outside or something that is maybe a few steps behind, I'm just not that excited about it anymore.
Is that different to? Were you there last year? You two guys.
I was
I
there.
went last year.
Was it noticeably not as exciting as last year?
So I actually want to say that this HITEC was way more exciting than last year. Last year was like, I couldn't believe how many people had these old telephones sitting on tables showing you it. Like this one vendor last year, he probably had like the 50 different models of telephones you could put in your hotel. And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, man, you need to really run down your stock because the industry is going to change. But this year it was really interesting to see only a small amount of these vendors were here. And then on the other side, you have these new technology companies. The best example is in hotels, you often have these crazy TV systems where you walk in and it says like, oh, hello, Adam, welcome to room 301. And these IPTV systems, and they're insanely expensive for hotels to implement, and they always do it. And then you have these guys from Nonius who got a Google Chromecast, the same one you would probably have in your living room. They wrote some custom application which runs on this Chromecast. So all a hotel has to do now is get this Chromecast, plug it into their TV, and this is great for the guest. Nearly, I think it's 5 out of 8 people have a Netflix account or some sort of streaming service, and now they can just cast their own content to the TV with just a 30 euro stick that you plug into the TV. I think it's great to see these new players start to kick out the old dinosaurs in the room.
Like the funny thing is like it's called HITEC, but there's very little tech. This is the funny thing, and which makes the show less, I guess, inspiring, because that's what people are wanting to come from, is to actually see tech. And I compare that to like a European show like ITB or WCM, and there's way more tech, and that's just, it's like a complete different contrast. You would think you'd go to HITEC to see tech. And the other thing that I find by HITEC is that the technology that seems to come together is just purely focused on hospitality. Whereas when we go to ITB or WTM, there's even technology outside the hospitality sphere that's actually focusing on the hospitality industry. So we get to see how these third-party applications could work in hospitality. So it was, for me, it was a little bit underwhelming in terms of the amount of tech.
So to play devil's advocate, what can the Europeans or the rest of the world learn from either American hoteliers or American tech companies or anything a bit more US-centric that you saw? Is there something that they are doing better, in your opinion? That could be soft, it could be hard, it could be specific, it could be vague.
Good question. Not a whole lot at this moment in time. I would have to be totally honest with you.
No.
I feel our hoteliers in Europe, and I'm not saying this obviously because we're European, but the thing is, I see us now here pushing the boat with doing anything and everything to be as radical as possible, and without questioning everything. But that's because we have a much larger sector of independence here in Europe than they do in the US with brands, so their hands are probably handcuffed more than they can do. So I think that's why they don't explore the options, because it's like, hey, can I do this? Oh, I'm sorry, no, the brand now says that you have to do it in this way. Whereas here we can experiment and do much. And this is also pushing us as tech companies to actually reinvent things even faster, because now hoteliers are asking us for stuff that they never asked for before. So I don't see anything, without sounding rude, I guess.
And you make a very valid point. At ITB and WTM, you do see providers, just technology providers, and these partners are coming into the hospitality space because they have software or hardware that fits everyone. And they are really innovating in the space. Like, for example, Intercom, which is just it's a messaging service that we use a lot at Mews internally. And you see them go into these European trade shows, whereas at HITEC, there's just a limit on technology companies that brand themselves as hospitality companies. When, in my opinion, the event should more be about what technology can we get that can be used in hospitality.
Lucy, did you feel that hoteliers, when you spoke to them, there was a sense that they're a little bit more risk averse because of these kind of things, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they only know what they know. So, like, if you're constantly just pitched or presented products that are still a little behind in terms of the technology progression that we're seeing, that's the best they'll see. So so from the sales perspective, and I keep telling our team whenever I have conversations with hoteliers from the US, there is an amazing amount of excitement because they don't usually have access to solutions that are this innovative and this absolutely refreshing to what they know. So I feel like there's that struggle. Like I just look at it from perspective of and I've met some hoteliers that went to HITEC to look for solutions, and I would hate that to be the case, because if that's the room that's your source of information and your possibilities, I feel like it's extremely limited. So I would want HITEC to be more tech and more general tech, something that will just really blow me away.
And you're completely right. So last year, HITEC in Houston, I met some hoteliers from a Boardwalk Hotel in Aruba, which they're now using Mews, and that's what they went to HITEC to find a new property management system, and they found us, which was great. But we weren't exhibiting.
Yeah.
But if they didn't meet us there, I feel they would have ended up with something just really boring and not.
They would have left very disappointed because they didn't
Yeah.
find what they were looking for. I find the products that were there as technology products were probably brought in just because they were brought in. I don't feel like the organizers may have gone out and actually said, right, we're getting this amount of footfall, let's exhibit a little bit in this area, maybe some housekeeping new stuff, some front desk new stuff, some guest application new stuff. It seemed to be telephones, TVs, some accounting systems, just nothing inspiring.
So we were talking earlier, you said, like everywhere else, people are getting really excited about things like Alexa and Google Homes and all these kind of things. However, you mentioned that you saw them everywhere, but they weren't being used. Either not being used properly, but they weren't being used to actually how they could be used with a PMS and for a hotel, in which you could be not only making real use of the service as a hotel, but also improving the guest experience.
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of vendors which are using Alexa and are pitching to have Alexa in every hotel room, and I love it. I think it's great. But what was being demonstrated just isn't really going to enhance the customer experience or bring much value to you as a hotel. It's just something that you pretty much, in my opinion, just putting in the room. I demoed quite a few of them, and if you would ask, hey Alexa, I'm checking out now, it would say, oh great, see you soon. I've told the reception team. But it's not linked to anything. All it's doing is just going to be creating some email for some human to be pressing a button in the property management system. Yeah. Nothing was integrated, and nothing was really the full journey, which I thought was quite disappointing.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen like that the thing that you're asking is physically being done. Like the bill for the checkout would be a great example. If I'm checking out, I would like to hear taxis being booked.
Yep.
Your bill is being processed, it should be in your inbox shortly. The moment you close that door, you can't enter again or something like this.
And it's all possible. Alexa has this in their hospitality APIs, it's just providers aren't giving it to hotels.
Yeah, I think it's more aesthetic than anything else to have it in the room rather than it to become really functional. Yeah. How many times I've ordered food, like I don't want to go out and get food, I just want to use either Deliveroo or Uber Eats because I'm super lazy. And I just love to tell Alexa, can I have some food? And she would be like, which one? And then it just does it, and then it charges it to your bill, which would be even better. If you're not prepaying on like an Uber Eats or something, I don't know, something to this. More functionality, more functional stuff from Alexa rather than just aesthetic.
And what about the usual topics? AI, robots.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did you see?
Saw a few robots.
There were robots, yeah.
Yeah, there was the robots which carry the room service tray and deliver you a toothbrush and things.
Oh, and pushes the housekeeping trolley
down.
That's right. And I know that Mandarin Oriental is testing this
in.
They're trying it, I think, in Boston, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So they want to kind of feel out people's sentiment about, okay, how are you going to feel if it's actually a robot dropping off stuff in front of your door rather than, you know, a human being. But yeah, so we've seen a few. That was kind of cool.
There was a couple of robots running around.
Yeah. And anything on AI?
I've seen some. I've had some conversations, but it's, you know, I still kind of want to see how it's going to be applied. Yeah. So AI around, you know, the conversations we've had around customer profile, customer feedback, all these things. Really want to classify, you know, who this person is and understand them, and, you know, be able to pitch them certain things, and or provide customized rates, or maybe even blacklist them from the property. Definitely. Because if you're not really bringing a lot of value, but, you know, you're a problematic customer, then we don't really want you. But I'm really curious how that's gonna go.
Yeah. But going back to the robots, because I remember seeing one robot going down, and they had a video, and it opens its mouth, and it was giving out like toothbrushes
or something.
Oh, and amenity kit. Yeah. So I was like, imagine if you asked for, like, I don't know, I need 7 towels. So like the whole robot, it just opens like this.
It opens a different compartment. Towels. Yeah.
You just see towels coming out from like every angle of the robot. Here's your towel. Here's your towel.
People were pitching all sorts of things. You know, like the room service trolleys, which can automate themselves back to the food and beverage department and things like that. But it also raises the question: is room service in hotels like really here to stay? Every hotel I stay at now, I see probably so many Uber Eats and delivery drivers walking through that lobby.
So guilty.
Yeah, me too. Because sometimes the room service menu just isn't good. So it's like, do you really, should a hotel be investing in a robot to deliver some room service when maybe that's the way the world isn't going?
Even without Uber Eats or Deliveroo, like, imagine if I ask for a martini and this poor robot is going down the carpet like shaking down, and I get back and it's just an olive with a
yeah.
And all my gin and vodka is like everywhere.
At least they shake it well, yeah.
Obviously, it's further behind in certain regards than Europe, but did you see in general in payments, whether it's the booking experience in terms of payments and automated online payments in general, did you see a difference, and the fact that there was a noticeable area of which there could be drastic improvements? Could you talk a bit more about what you saw?
The main thing I saw was these big Verifons with it was almost like a huge pad.
Yes, with the signature pad.
With the signature pad?
Yes.
And it seemed to still be a thing to sign, but you could still put your card in.
Yeah.
But you can't tap immediately. There's a button underneath, so I have to press this green button to say please allow me to tap, and then you tap and then you went through. Very long-winded.
Yeah.
It wasn't as easy as I would have thought, considering Apple started Apple Pay in the US. You would have thought this would be the most advanced in payments, but I think us is here in Europe, there's nowhere in Europe I go where I have a problem.
No.
Maybe Germany.
No one maybe Germany, yeah. But no one signs anymore.
No.
Yeah, but in the US that's still how they do it.
Yeah,
you
have to put the card into your PIN plus still sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really, really behind, I found.
So Lucy, 2 things that you think American hoteliers, first steps they can take to try and catch up with Europe, or just to take proper steps forward into getting their properties into the 21st century?
I really just, I think first is the mindset. You really just have to open yourself up to, forget what we did, right? What we did in Mews, we challenged the status quos, and I think that's the first thing that they really have to learn how to do is just forget about what you were doing. Just look at the world and how other industries are working, how other properties are working outside of, your playground. Because I think they can actually find a lot of inspiration in what we're doing here. So really change the mindset and just go for it. There was this amazing, what was a blog or video of somebody, one of our clients said, just do it.
do it now.
Honestly, it's really just being brave and staying away from the legacy systems. Just go for something new, something fresh. I would, connect the applications that you want to test it out, and then, if it doesn't work, you can change it. I love this about our marketplace the most, and I was actually highlighting that a lot, because I always say the marketplace is basically your app store. Just like easy, you can just get on your phone, you can plug in your, it's January, fitness, nutrition, then in 3 months you're like, I'm not using this. You just unsubscribe, and you can do that now. So why not try these different tools that can help you automate and go away from the systems that give you all-in-one for a lot of money with very, old, functionality and very just clumsy system that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Greg?
Like for me, I think as a standard, like anything you buy needs to have a return on investment. Like this is what hoteliers will talk about when they plan their budget, and I'm a hotelier by heart. Like it needs to have a return on investment. If I buy something, I want to see it make some money. And I feel with the applications, you can't have access to them because the legacy system is holding you back. So for me, the one thing I would say is it's time to I guess take out a white clean piece of paper and start drawing from the ground up. As simple as it is, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 different new softwares that you can, and it's so easy these days, you don't even need to think about it anymore. It's so easy to move to a different system where it was very difficult. So for me, the number one advice is if you had to reinvent your entire hotel offering as a whole from what hotels have done in the past, I would say white piece of paper and start getting a Koki pen. I'm not sure if that's that's a South African word.
Sharpie.
Sharpie, thank you. A Sharpie pen and actually start architecting what you would actually like the whole experience to do. Yeah.
Adam?
Yeah, look, I'm just going to sort of add on to that, right? When you are looking at tech for your hotel, you need to have this product mindset to it and think about like what is the product that my hotel offers, and so let's just take. I saw one example which really upsets me, that people they want digital registration cards. So what they do, they want to have the guests fill in all their information, so it's directly on their profile in the PMS. So what they usually are doing is they are buying these signature tablets, and from the PMS they're printing the registration card onto this tablet. The guest fills in their information with a pen, then it saves it as a PDF back into the PMS, and this is their fix that they see. Whereas if they actually start from the beginning and say, I want to capture the information digitally is so the guest doesn't have to spend much time doing the check-in, so there's less paperwork and admin for my staff, so they can actually do what they're employed to do and to be hospitable and look after the guests. Then you would take a whole different approach. You would make the guest fill in this information before they even arrived. The signature would be done on a tablet. As soon as they walked in, they would get their key from the tablet and speak to the guest, speak to the staff member as if they're a host. So sort of the main piece of advice is to design the tech stack around your hotel from a product point of view and think about what are the problems I'm trying to solve, rather than I need to put a Band-Aid on this.
So it seems, finally, it seems that basically HITEC was a disappointment, which is perhaps expresses the fact that there's a poor offering for American hoteliers.
Yeah.
So, finally, what's your advice to the organizers of HITEC in how to showcase to hoteliers in a better way? Because you guys have rocked out at a whole bunch of fairs and conferences all over the world, which have done some really exciting stuff. Competitors, us, integration partners, all sorts. But how can HITEC get American hoteliers great again?
Yeah, so if I was the organizer of HITEC, the first thing I would be doing is, so it's a hospitality technology event, okay? So let's break that down into all the areas. So you will have guest management, so that would be PMSs, CRMs. You'd have revenue management, so you're going to have revenue management systems and rate shopping tools and pricing intelligence things. A business intelligence section, so you're going to have BI tools and things like that there. A food and beverage section, so point of sales. The room service trays, which can find their way back to F&B department. They still do have a place. The guest technology, that's the telephones, the in-room TVs, things like that, the mirrors. So think of it this way, divide it all into sections. Then from each of those sections, do some research as the organizer and see what are the most innovative solutions out there on the market right now, and contact them to bring them into the event and make this event a place that hoteliers will go and they will be blown away by innovative tech, rather than taking a different approach and saying the vendors need to contact us, You as the organizer of this event, you have a forum to help hoteliers innovate in the industry. So this is how I would do it.
Lucy?
So that's really good. So I would probably kind of loop in the panels that I saw, right, the first day, and I mean they were fine. They were good information, but I think we're just so bored by sitting and like listening to people talk at a podium. Let's make it fun and interactive.
What were the panels about?
There were many. I mean, and they didn't bore me, but I just we do so much fun stuff, and because you have to attract the hotelier to not just I need to learn something about AI. Okay, let me sit here like I'm in a class. Make it interactive. So there were talks about AI, talks about PCI compliance, fraud, and of course the data protection, big topic. And I think it would be really interesting to see this becoming a day when it's full of interactive stuff. And I would actually bring in people from outside. I would bring in people from, security data companies that are completely outside of different industry. And let's look at someone who conquered this well, and let's see what we can learn from them, and do workshops, create scenarios, see how you would tackle it, make it fun, and really make it extremely educational and inspiring, because it was good, but we've seen this for years and years and years, and I think we're here now to do something more, innovative also in that space, not just sit around.
The thing about these events is it's always a panel of really old men.
Yeah.
And they've done their time in the hospitality industry. It's time to shake things up a little bit, pull in a younger crowd from various industries. Because that will really push us forward. And
the ideas will spark, maybe we'll create a conversation at the moment that will create a completely new product. You don't know, but if you put really brilliant minds together in a room and you bring them from different sources, bring them from different industries or companies, and watch what happens. I feel like that can be really interesting and inspiring.
Greg, anything to add? Direct into the inboxes of the HITEC organizers. Your piece of advice on how they can wet the whistle of US hoteliers.
There's no wow factor for me. I know it's a moving show and it goes from city to city, but there still isn't a wow factor. And it doesn't have to be the design or I don't know, the layout or whatever it may, but it's just all of it combined just seems very old. And walking down some of these aisles, I felt like I was at a supermarket. It was just really, and I add to Adam these old men, but if you want a younger, more vibrant crowd that gets inspired by a show, which is why the show was created in the first place, was to inspire the hospitality industry to think big about new technology that could help their business. This is actually what the show was created. Did I feel like that when I walked away from the show? No, not at all. So I would say if there's anything that you're planning to do, the next one that you have, think about it. You're creating a show to create a wow factor, not another supermarket. So this is my advice to them. Yeah, and sorry, that was too harsh.
It was interesting to see the startup award that got awarded to
20X it was called.
The panic button for housekeepers. So in the US, regulation in most states is that housekeeping and the staff that go to rooms, that they need to have some way to alert other team members in case something happens to them. And this one company that just creates a panic alarm won the best startup.
So 20X it's called. Yeah. They bring 20 startups together and one will win for the most innovative, crazy, life-changing idea, and the award went to a panic button.
Yeah. But on my iPhone I just have to hold down the power button and the volume up button for a couple of seconds and then it calls the police.
Yeah. Oh, the SOS function.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that function.
Yeah.
I've called them a few times.
One's at HITEC, probably.
Another good thing was...
Panic button. Have you ever? A panic button won the most innovative idea.
I can't forget about it already.
Have you any evidence of the likes of Zapier and automation and that kind of stuff?
No. Not even a win.
Yeah.
Not even a little blink.
No.
No. And you'd think they're US based, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You thought
They just know what
like,
they
that's
know where
good
not to go.
The most exciting thing at HITEC was last year when Cisco and Meraki were there, and they were showing their Meraki platform connected to Mews, which was great, and how you can track guests walking around a resort, depending on which Wi-Fi access point they're connected to. That was really cool. They went there this year.
That was the beacon stuff, wasn't it?
No, it's based on your Wi-Fi device. So if your phone's connected to the access point in your room, then you go to the pool, they know you're not in the room. And it was really cool. But they went there this year, and
Any kiosk,
people.
anything interesting in the kiosk area?
You had the usual suspects there, Ariane and another provider, but nothing that was wow.
No
for me.
showstoppers.
No.
Yeah.
And the footfall seems to have been very partner based rather than
Yeah.
hotelier based. I couldn't find that many hoteliers actually attending. Like you want to talk to the hoteliers, there was very few.
And hoteliers can go for free because they can join the buyers club, and they can get a free ticket.
But they weren't there.
But they weren't there.
There were more hoteliers at the HAHOA conference in San Diego that I went to in April, May, than there was at HITEC, and you would think they would have come to this show to actually see the technology. Don't get it. Very bizarre.
So what are Mews's plans for the US and for the rest of the year?
So we open our office officially on August 2nd, which I think is the Monday. So we will be based out of New York in Brooklyn. And we will be putting together a team of about 6 or 7 people by the end of the year. And provided we make some sort of a dent, both independent and brand, as we're talking on all levels at the moment, next year will be really exciting. We hope our team in the US, I say US, I should just say North America, because we're looking also at Canada as well, would be, if anything, growing as fast as we did here in Europe over the last 3 years. Yeah. So watch this space. Some exciting stuff coming your way.
Tune in next time for more hospitality tech goodness.